Um, we are going to talk today about listings, and we're going to focus that conversation on a CMA. Do you guys know what a CMA stands for? Chelsea just said competitive market analysis. She read my text from earlier today, probably. So a CMA is super important to understand and know because you guys, whether you're working with buyers or sellers, you're going to have to know the value or approximately the value of said home. So if you're offering on a home, you want to make sure that your buyers are buying a home that is of appropriate value. And when you're listing a home, as Dana's about to do, she wants to make sure that she is going to list her home at a reasonable price point, but one that's going to maximize her profitability. And so we'll do some screen sharing here, and we're going to get into how to do a competitive market analysis a couple different ways. We can do that a quick way, which is typically just a real quick snapshot, takes a couple minutes, or we can go really in depth, especially if we're like headed into a listing appointment. We want to be super detailed and know all of our facts. Now, I will say, Keith, you're probably using a different MLS mainly down there in Jackson. So some of the stuff may not apply as far as the actual ins and outs of the buttons to push and all that stuff, but the same general principle does hold true. And I will get familiar, Keith, with your MLS so that you so that I can best cater to your proximity there to Jackson.
Yeah, if you can give me the principles and stuff, I can figure out the software. So,
Sure thing. Yeah, you're a tech guy, right? You're an IT guy, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Um, Before I get into the material, though, I did want to share some exciting news. The
Yes.
exciting news is, okay, so when we first started this program with Casey, Dana, Katie, Dawn even, we had kind of a two-pronged coaching system, and Ben Flume was the next level up. Ben Flume was essentially going to be over growth, whereas I was going to be teaching and coaching the brand new agents. Well, Ben, obviously, if you guys hadn't heard, he's got twins, and they are very young, and so he wants to spend more time with those two rugrats, and so there is no longer a two-pronged approach to this coaching, and so I'm adopting the entire coaching program. We're just going to call it a productivity coaching program. I'm super excited about it because if you haven't noticed, we're starting to see some traction with some new agents joining our team here. And what this entails is me doing a lot of recruiting because my goal is to make as many people's real estate dreams come true as possible, because we all know the lucrative nature of this business and how it can lend itself to more family time if done appropriately, and just overall happiness and satisfaction. So I'm excited about that. That's not what the big announcement is, though. The big announcement is going to be that we are going to start offering leads. What that means, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when you were interviewing at brokerages, and the question will always come up, well, do you guys offer any leads to brand new agents? And until now, the answer was always, well, no, unless you join a team, like, well, there's different commission splits and stuff. And we're not going to talk about like that specific team, but unfortunately, you're kind of responsible for your own leads generation. And what we found is that works for some people. Like, that's how I got into it. That's how we all got into it here at KW. And we know that there can be a different approach. We all want to get into this business and get active quickly, right? And so for some of us, that means we get lucky. Dawn, who's not on right now, she's been in this now for 3 months or so. And she's got a listing that's active, and actually it's not active, it's in contract, and she's got a buyer who's in contract. So she got, I'm not going to say lucky, she worked hard for it. But some of us, it takes a little bit longer to get our first couple deals. And what we really want to do is bridge that gap for you and get you learning the processes and systems of getting in contract, how to write a contract, how to do a CMA, how to do an open house. We want to get you guys immersed quickly. And I think the way that we can do that is to supply you guys with some leads. So I will be, we'll be getting out some literature to you guys here very soon on what exactly that looks like. But essentially, you know, the leads will be distributed evenly amongst those who sign up to receive them. As long as you're working those leads in a timely manner, you'll continue to receive leads. Some of the leads are just going to be like any lead we receive in this industry. Some of them are going to be hot garbage. Some of them are going to be funny names that people typed into the computer and thought they'd waste our time. However, some of those leads are going to turn into commissions. And if we approach those things correctly and systematically, you guys are going to earn money off those leads. Now, the leads obviously won't come for free. You're going to have to pay a referral fee, but it's still going to be highly lucrative for you guys, and it will jump you guys into production quicker. And that is the name of the game. So yeah, that's the big thing. Now, Columbus and Jackson, we will also be giving leads out in Jackson. Now, I'm not going to give you Columbus leads because that would suck to drive all the way up here. We are going to definitely cater to you as well, and those coaching members that come on from the Jackson area. So we're going to meet you all where you're at. And as long as, like I said, if you sign up for this, as long as you are working the leads diligently, you will continue to receive them. It is not something that we're just going to give. You are going to have to work for them. So if you're clearly not working the leads that you're being provided, then we're going to give them to somebody who is working them.
Yeah.
So how does that sound to you guys? Does that sound like a positive?
Amazing.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Dawn joined us. Dawn, I know that you're a little bit late. I mean,
I'm just a little. I'm so sorry, crew. But thank you.
okay. Katie was late too. So Katie Matheson, that is. Not that I was paying attention or anything.
I mean, you're not keeping score or anything.
No, but man, I think we got a really good group here. So Katie and Dawn, we introduced 2 new agents to our team here.
Yes.
Dawn, you have already met Chelsea earlier in the
Yes.
week, but
Hi,
you did not
Chelsea.
meet Keith. Keith is an agent down in Jackson. Dawn is the agent that I was just referring to, who's got 2 homes in contract, and we're super excited for her because her hard work's paying off. And then Katie
Thank you, sir.
is actively involved with several buyers as well. So
Wow.
we've got some good stuff going on here in the program. All right, let's get to some material. Now, I will also say, Keith and Chelsea, we typically, in a normal week, we will start off by doing just a real quick catch up with each agent. And what it looks like typically is, hey, Casey, tell me, how many contacts did you get last week? Any buyers, any sellers, any wins, any losses? And it's normally like a 1 minute, just quick snapshot of where each agent is at in their business. And really all that's meant to do is provide some level of insight into maybe roadblocks that we're facing, or maybe some major wins that we can share with the group. I think I learn best from hearing how other people that are my peers are doing things. And hopefully you guys will pick up a thing or two. But it also provides a little bit of accountability, because nobody wants to get on here and say, well, I didn't generate a single lead last week and I spent 0 hours making phone calls. So hopefully we're inspired to do a lot of the hitting the nail, as I put it. So each week, if we hit the nail enough times, then odds are we're going to drive that nail right into the board and start to get some business. Cool? All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want to jump into a competitive market analysis. Are you seeing my screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so I do this all from the MLS. Who here has done a CMA before?
Me.
I have.
Okay, good. So there's a few of you have. Maybe some of us remember how we actually did that. There's a quick way and a slow way. So the quick way is just if I need some quick information. So let's say, for instance, that I've got a buyer. We are walking through the house and they say, Josh, I really love this house. Can you tell me what comps are in the area? Well, sure, I can tell you really quickly what some comps are, but what I'd like to do is go home and do more of a deep dive when I get a chance to sit down and actually look at facts at a deeper level. When you hear that, when somebody wants a quick idea of what comps are in the area, it's pretty simple to look it up. So let's, Dana, what is your address, ma'am?
4137 Town Crier, TOWNCRIER.
Now you'll notice, guys, some shortcuts here. So when I started typing this into the search bar, stuff automatically starts popping up. Sometimes there's some really funky names of roads out there that are a little hard to spell. So if you just know a few letters or if you just know the numbers, you can normally auto-populate some stuff here. So 4137 Town Crier. Now you'll notice that there are 3 instances of this home having closed in the past. So I probably want to pick the most recent one. And this is just for information purposes, but this one sold in, was it 2008, right?
Yeah.
2008, 2001, and then 1997, it looks like. So we're going to pull this one open. Let's just pretend that, guys, that this is an active listing and your client just asked you for some quick comps. Let me move you guys. There we go. On the listing page here, you'll see this toolbar. You got your report, which gives you all the details about the home. You got your history, which can provide some actually some pretty good information if you are working with a buyer on the history of any like price changes or any maybe previous sales. I never use this realist tax information. If you guys do and you find it useful, no. Good on you. I've never used the neighborhood profile, never used the calculator, never used the AVM. But what I have used and I use most of the time is I go over to click more and I go to consolidated. I don't know what it all means. Like, I'm assuming it means consolidated data. The only thing you need, and if you're writing notes, just write this down. The only thing you need is nearby comparable sales. Now, as you play with this, maybe you'll find other stuff that you can actually use. I found that this is all I've ever used here, and it works real well. From here, I just click Preview Report. Now, this is the part that takes it probably takes 30 seconds or so, so there's a little bit of downtime. Don't be surprised when it doesn't automatically pop up. But if I'm looking at nearby comparable sales, these are sales that have happened within the last 12 months. It automatically pulls. And the reason I say this is quick is because it doesn't go as in-depth as I typically like to go when I'm doing like a real deep dive into pricing a home. And also, I should say that the reason we're using Dana's house is because she's currently about to list, and we want to make sure that she's pricing it at a good price point. On this map, you see a star. This is the location of Dana's house, or the house that we're walking through. So as I'm looking at it, I see home number 2 is in that same development. Home number 7, 8, 6, 3, and 4 appear to be in the same development, 5 as well. Over here, home number 1, I'm not going to probably put as much weight on home number 1 because it doesn't appear to be connected to the same development. We really want to try and compare apples to apples. And if I'm doing that, then home number 9 is not apples to apples at all, is it? Because it's a completely separate neighborhood. It's cut off by this pretty main road, I'd say. As I scroll down, there's going to be a little like summary here. 9 comps, it'll always populate 9, which is nice, but sometimes it's kind of a stretch on what they're pulling. It'll give you the address, and this information is important because you and then go in and if you see something that's like an apples to apples perfect comparison in terms of square footage and bedrooms and baths and all that, then you could go actually type in that address to your MLS and compare the pictures to say, well, their finishes were a little bit nicer, so maybe it did warrant a higher price point. What I'm seeing as a quick snapshot is all these homes but one have sold this calendar year, and the price range has gone from, we'll just call this 200 all the way up to 230. So at its highest, it's looking like maybe 230, just on a quick snapshot. As I get down here, remember we said that home number one is likely not an apples to apples comparison, but it looked like, let me see, what was it? 2 through 8 were pretty solid. So here you see a photo of the home. So you can compare and contrast this picture versus your picture. This one looks like a dead ringer right here. All same school district. 2-story home. That's the same as Dana's. 3-bed, 1.5 bath. That's the same as Dana's. 1,860 square feet. Now they could be including basement size here. I'm not sure. Got a price per square foot. Never pay attention to this assessed value, guys. The assessed value is like tax auditor information. It doesn't play a part in anything. Acres, now because this is an older listing, that's why it's not auto-populating everything here. But acreage is, I'm sure, pretty similar. 2-car garage. And then what it sold for, when it sold. How many days? You can continue down and see all these other homes that have sold. So this is a quick snapshot. So if the home was, let's just say that her home was actually listed at 260, and I saw these numbers, I might tell my buyers, I might have to say, guys, this home appears to be pretty overpriced. I don't think we're prepared to, I don't think we're in a good spot to offer 260 or asking price for it. Unfortunately, this is a different market. This is a unique market in which the seller completely has the upper hand and they're able to ask for maybe over market offers, and they'll likely get them as long as they're not too far over. So take this as a grain of salt. Any questions on this consolidated quick comp poll? Has anybody seen this before?
No.
Cool. Keith, again, I don't know if your MLS actually has access to this, but I'm sure there's probably a quick way to do comps and a slow way.
Yeah, there was a real quick way I found this morning, but
Wonderful.
I'll look deeper for you. It's not this advanced, so I'll keep looking.
All right, if there's no questions on the quick comp, then I'm going to go into the more deep dive. We're going to go deep. All right. We are going to do what's called an actual CMA now. So let's turn a dial in our minds and let's act like we are getting ready for a listing appointment. And at the listing appointment, I want to be able to give my seller a pretty good idea of how much I would expect their home to sell for. Now, I also want to make sure that we understand that it's impossible to give a 100% definitive answer of how much a person's home is going to sell for. Right, Dawn?
Yes, sir.
So Dawn, I mean, we went back and forth a little bit on pricing that home, and she listed it at 210, right?
210.
And you're in contract for?
220, 200.
Okay, so even our best guess, guys, especially in this market, is just that. It's a guess. And I want you all to understand, there is no right answer when somebody asks you, how much is my home worth? Well, actually, your home is worth whatever anyone would pay for it. But if you're actually looking for a tangible number, I can give you a really good ballpark. But at the end of the day, sometimes it just comes down to one person's opinion, and that might be the appraisers. So there is no 100% right answer where basically if we were to ask 5 different realtors to price Dana's house, my guess would be that we would receive probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 different prices as suggestions. So although we can't get it 100% right all the time, our objective is to go in there with at least a range. I like to go into a listing appointment with a range because probably haven't been in the house before myself. And all I have to go off of, so before I ever stepped foot in Dana's house, all I had to go off of were previous listing photos, which odds are not updated, right? Because I'm sure that over the last 12 years, Dana's done some work inside. And I have the auditor's information about square footage and also any improvements that have taken place. But without seeing it with my naked eye, there's no way that I can actually zero in on an exact precise number. Additionally, real estate, and if I could give you guys a term that'll make you guys sound like geniuses, the term is hyperlocal. Real estate is hyperlocal, meaning Dana's house that is located on Town Crier, her best competition or the best way for us to generate a really solid price is if something has sold like right next door.
True.
Because real estate like 2 streets over could be completely different. Maybe there's power lines going through the backyard. Maybe there's a rundown house across the street. All those things impact the value of your home. So when you take into account that real estate is hyperlocal, you also need to take into account that although you're providing a price range for what you expect the home to sell at this listing appointment, you are also giving a footnote or an asterisk stating that, now, I know we're going to plan to list this in a month. I am not going to give you an exact price point until we're about ready to list this thing in a month, because in between now and then, 3 homes could go up for sale. Every single one of those homes impacts our comp number, right? So if one home is a total crap hole and sells for 50K less than what we want to get out of ours, that might hurt our comps. Or maybe there's a home that's super duper nice. Well, that's going to affect our comps. Everything that happens until you actually list the home impacts your comp number. So we always want to under promise and over deliver. You guys have probably heard that term before. As realtors, we never want to give somebody like a false sense of security and then pull the rug out from underneath them. Our job as their fiduciary is to guide them and to provide the most information that we possibly can. So this is a guide. In our MLS, if you were to go up to menu, I'm going to go to CMA. Now you'll notice my little gold stars. If you don't know how to do this, guys, if you see a link that you like under the menu and you hover over it, you'll notice the little star pops up. You can just click on that star, and going forward, those items will come up in your toolbar up here. So all those things that have stars are quick, easy access. I'm going to save myself a fraction of a second by not having to go to menu and then CMA. So you might be asking yourself, well, where is that up here? For me, I just click more, CMA. As you can see, I've done quite a few CMAs here. I'm going to create a new one. And guys, this is super easy to use. It's just a matter of us remembering, oh yeah, there's that tool that I can use. And it's pretty nice. So what do you guys think? Dana owns a home. What do you think we need to push as property type?
Residential.
Thank you. Residential. Statistical average field. That just auto-populates, so we're just going to go next. So residential, next. Title, competitive market analysis. Now you could write something like Dana T, in case you're doing a bunch of CMAs. For Dana T. And it's as of Thursday, August 6th, 2020. Now, why is that important? Why is it important that we're specifying what day of the year it is?
I'm gonna pull the information from that.
It's
Current
just
sales
like,
for that up to that point.
go back to your Honduras classes. What does an appraiser do? Appraisers value the home as of that day when they submit the report, right?
Mhm.
And they do that because the next day a home could sell that would impact our comps. So this is protecting ourselves in case your seller was to come back and say, well, hey, you told me that my home was gonna be worth 235. Well, now you're telling me it's only worth 230. What's the deal? You can reference this and say, well, that report that I gave you was as of August 6th, and we're now August 31st. 3 homes have sold in the last 21 days, 28 days, 24 days, and that's impacted our comps. So you're protecting yourselves here.
And those comps have to be actual closes, not in contracts.
For appraisal purposes, yes. And I always try to use closed units. That's a great call out. Always try to use closed because that's what the appraiser is going to be using.
Okay.
There are times where you do want to consider what the neighbor across the street who just listed their house, you want to consider what it's listed at. Because maybe you want to play the game where you have competitive homes and you're going to price yours maybe $1,000 cheaper to try and drive more traffic than them. It's all psychological. And then this report is going to be prepared by me. I want my name. You guys want your names all over any material that you ever send to anybody or that you ever give to anybody. Why would you want your name all over it? Chelsea said because you want them to see it, know it, remember it. We've said this multiple times. Crest or Colgate. We want to be Crest or Colgate in their minds. If we're subliminally giving them a bunch of material with our name on it, well, when they think of real estate, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of you. So we filled in everything we can fill in. I have no need to write any comments. Let's go to the next step. You can also see up here, this is the path we're going to take. We're going to fill out all these things. I know it looks like a lot, but I promise you it's easy. Next step. The address. One more time. 4137.
Yep.
Town Crier. Gahanna. What's zip code?
43230.
Now I could auto-populate these fields from an existing listing. That's fun to say. And I think I probably will because I don't like to type in all this stuff. Why not auto-populate it? So if let's see here. If I get a new screen, let's go back. I'm just going to copy and paste this previous MLS number. Copy. Paste. Submit. And then boom, it all pulls up for us. Woo! Now, the one thing that is going to be incorrect here are going to be taxes. We don't care about 2007 taxes, right?
No.
We want 2019. Do you
Did you-
happen to remember what your taxes were last year?
Hey, Mark, what were our taxes last year?
No, actually, let's go ahead and look. So you're in Franklin County, right?
Yes.
All right. This is important. This is stuff that you're gonna have to know. So I use basically 2 websites when I'm doing anything home related. That is the MLS or the local auditor's site. Now, up here, we work kind of in 2 or 3 different auditor's sites. So we'll work in Franklin County for anything that's a little south of us, or we'll mainly work in Delaware County for anything north of us. If you go east too far, then you're in another county, and west in another county. So, and I'm sure it's the same down there where you're at, Keith. But Franklin County Auditor's site, boom. I'm gonna go to real estate, property search. Super easy to navigate. And if you have a smartphone, which y'all do, then just download this app. They've updated the app. They pumped a bunch of money into it, and it's very nice app. Property search. We could either do it by last name, or we can do it by address. I always find address easier because there could be a million Thompsons out there, Thomases, and then how to spell it, I always jack it up. So why not just do something I can't jack up? 4137. And you don't have to put the whole thing in it. It'll kind of auto-populate it. Oh, there's 2 options. Well, I want this one. Click on it. That's her. Scroll all the way down, and you'll get your taxes. So last year, 2019 taxes, we'll just round 4175. Everything else, though, should be pretty accurate. Now, unless they've like maybe done an addition that would have impacted their square foot from 2007 to 2008, everything else should be good. Everything look good there, Dana?
Yep.
Cool.
So do we have-
It even pops up the photo, which is nice. It'll make this report look a little bit more professional. Okay, so we're going to, real quickly, does everybody know the difference between square foot tax record and square foot ATFLS?
Additional.
what does the AT
addition.
all of the square?
Can anyone answer
Additional.
this question?
No.
ATFLS is approximate total finished
Square foot.
living space. Approximate total finished living space. So on the auditor's record, it should say 1464. That should be for all square footage above grade. So going back to Hondros, that just means anything above ground. Well, if you've got a finished basement, this is where you can add that in.
Yeah.
So if it's finished and it's 300 square feet, you've walked it off, then you can just add that to it. Okay. Any questions on here? We're gonna go next. Automatically, this pops up a comp search. So we have one of 4 different ways that we can search. I always use the top option because I found that it's the easiest. So we're going to enter a search radius of up to 1/4 mile. That might be a little extensive, but we'll see what it comes up with. So find comps.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
So that ATFLS, is that where I would add the 200 square feet we have in the basement that's
Yes,
finished?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I updated that on mine because I'm doing this along with you.
Cool. Good luck with that seller. I heard she's a real bear. All right. So now we've got a list of 21 comps. Now the comps that they pull up, you'll notice over here in blue, closed, they have all closed. This is great. Great information. If it was not closed, sometimes they'll pull up active or contingent, and those will be shown in like green print. But we really do want to use closed. Now, from this, we want to choose maybe the 6 or 7 homes max. I don't like to go more than 6 or 7 because it just confuses the seller. 6 or 7, maybe even 5 homes that most closely resemble yours. So I've already forgotten, remind me, yours is a 3-bed, 1.5 bath, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so right from the get-go, we can cross this guy off. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna check all, and then I'm gonna just uncheck the ones that don't meet our standards. So a 4-bed, 2-bath, well, that's different than a 3, 1.5. We should have plenty of results here that we can get an apples to apples comparison. I see a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. We're gonna click off on that one. 3-bed, 2.5 bath. Click off. We don't want it. 3-bed, 1.5. I'm gonna keep that in there. Now, please note the price on that is way low, so odds are it was maybe bank owned or something.
Foreclosed. Yeah, that's definitely one of the foreclosures we've seen in our neighborhood.
A 4-bed, 3-bath. That's not apples to apples. 3-bed, 3-bath. Not apples.
Which that particular property, Josh, the 4161 Stockade, they included everything that was in the basement, even though they didn't have egress or a walkout. That's kind of strange.
I'm so glad you said that. There is nothing that pisses me off more, pardon my French, and will start to frustrate you guys than when you take a buyer to a home, a buyer that needs 4 bedrooms, and the realtor took it upon themselves to classify something as a bedroom that is clearly not a bedroom. I went in, I showed 6 houses yesterday, the same people, and the one they were most excited about only had 3 bedrooms, and they had counted an office as a bedroom. That was clearly not a bedroom. It had no door on one side. It had no closet. They had no business deeming that a bedroom. So when you do go to input listings, please do us all in this whole world of brothers and sisters, realtors here, do us all a favor and classify things correctly. Good call out. Good call out. So to your point, Dana, you're going to know some things about this neighborhood that maybe I don't know. And that's why you're the local expert over there. We're seeing a couple 3-bed, 1.5 baths popping up here now. And this is just the first Passover. We may include some other homes here. I'm just quickly getting rid of some stuff that maybe doesn't apples to apples help us. So just quickly, we're down to 7. Now, as I look at this, I'm looking at anything that stands out to me that one of these things is not like the other. Going back to, what is that, Sesame Street? One of these things is not like the other. This home is clearly not like the others. So let's boot that bad boy out of there. Cool. Now we're down to 6 homes. Now I'm gonna real quickly make sure that I'm in the same vicinity, general vicinity. So I'm gonna click on map. Yeah, this one over here and this one right here aren't apples to apples in my opinion.
So right across Broadview, just to give you a little insight, is this exact same school district. And I think that's why I think a lot of people comp some of the properties that are across Broadview from us.
What I've discovered, guys, is that the appraisers are going to take a heavy weight towards the homes that are literally in your neighborhood. So
Okay.
I always try to err that way if possible. But that's a good call out. Like I said, you might know more about the area. So this guy here, I'm going to uncheck that one as well. And then which one is this? Pewter. I'll uncheck that one as well. So now we're down to 4. This is good. This is enough to work off of most likely. So it looks like a range of 200 to 220. Now, we can take a look at this from a list perspective. and say, okay, well, this one right here was listed at 195.5 and sold for 200. That's great news. 215 sold for 202. That's funky. 199 sold for 218. Holy cow, that's awesome news. 220 sold for 220. You know what the best news is that I see here? Can anyone see some really good news on this for Dana?
Here's over market.
What about this column here?
Days on market.
Is on market, yeah.
What's that tell you?
They go fast.
They go fast, be ready, and hopefully very little stress for your seller. This is the part that I always drum up, especially in this market, and get buyer or sellers excited because John Smith, hey, I got really good news. Your home is going to sell and it's going to sell quick. Now we just need to zero on a price point that's going to get it there for you. So from here, I kind of like to go into the photos. So let's say, again, I've never been into Dana's house. Well, I already have a price range here that I can go into her home saying, well, here's the facts, Dana. There are 4 apples to apples comparable homes that have sold in the last year from a range of 200 all the way up to 220. Half of these homes sold for over asking price, which is great for you. I did a little bit more digging, and it looks like the home that sold for 220, the finish is inside of it, and then you'll go on to explain. So from a curb appeal perspective, I don't see any curb appeal here. This is a very mundane looking exterior, correct? I see some weeds. There's nothing that is inviting. It just looks like a home stuck on a plot of land.
It was a flip.
Okay. Now, as I get inside, I can see, okay, yeah, I could probably tell that gray and the white trim is always a dead giveaway that somebody just recently went in there and redid it, maybe. Well, all right, that looks all right, I guess. Not staged. I don't know who puts their TV on the ground. But overall, like the space is nice, I guess. I love my plants on the floor. Lots of carpet. I'm making mental notes, right? Because if I walk into Dana's house and I see that she just installed luxury vinyl plank across the whole first floor, well, boom, there's an extra $5K. I noticed that there's no granite countertops here. Their cabinets are in pretty good shape, and I see stainless steel appliances. Okay, that's all good to know. As I get around here, I see, okay, this is good half bath. Rooms all look nice size. Ooh. Basement not finished, but it looks like it's just in need of flooring.
Mm-hmm.
Great size space. And a fenced yard. Fenced yards are nice and appealing. Good sized deck. Roof looks like it's maybe okay. All right, so if I've now seen the best that this neighborhood has to offer in terms of price, and I go into Dana's house and it's got this one beat by a million light years, well, then we can have the conversation and say, hey, the way this market's shaping up, I think we could probably go above 220. Some other information to consider is exactly when this home sold. It was on the market, came on the market in, what was that, June? June 2nd and closed on July 10th. So this is a really recent sale. One other thing, and this is just a pro tip, when you're getting ready to list a home, go ahead and call this agent. Or sorry, who listed it? This agent listed it. Go ahead and call Dustin Oltecan at HER. And what kind of information would be beneficial for you as a realtor, for the seller, as you're going into that appointment? What information could Dustin give you that would make you sound like a pro? Maybe how many showings they had, how much traffic they had, And oh, Dustin says, oh, you're about to list a home in our development. Well, hey, I got 3 people that didn't get the house that we were selling. They might be really great buyers for you. Well, what if I walked in and told Dana, if I was her realtor, hey, I called the other agent. I went ahead and called the other agent. I did my pre-work. I sound like a pro right there, right? Well, that other agent might have like 3 buyers for you.
Yeah.
If you're vying for the listing and you told me, if you came in and sat down and I was shopping for realtors and you told me that you might have 3 buyers for me, case closed, I'm signing with you. Because A, you went ahead and did something you didn't have to do. You went ahead and called the other agent. You did some pre-work. You came in fully prepared. And then B, you might have business for me. That's awesome. Regardless, I'm going to take all these 4. I think these are good comps. We're going to take these and return them to the listing. Return listings to CMA. It's up here in the top right. Click the button. They auto-populate up here. Because of time, I'm not going to go through each of these listings. Next step. So we've imported the comps. Next step, adjustments. I never really mess with this. So I don't go in there and make adjustments like an appraiser would based off of stainless steel versus white or a 3-car garage versus 2-car garage. I don't do that stuff. Maybe you guys are smart enough or have the time to do it, but for me, I just leave it alone. Next step. Here's some good stats. It lumps it all together again. This is what I like to highlight. Those average days on market is 4. That is incredible. Next step. Recommendation. So this will recommend a price just based solely off of the comps. So it doesn't take into account the pictures or anything like that. I always erase this.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in there and hand my potential clients something that says something that they're not going to that's not going to appeal to them, because I've been in Dana's house now, and I believe her house is worth more than 220. But I would, in your guys' shoes, before you've gone into a house, you're not going to know that, right? But you know what the limit is, 220, like the high end looks like. And when you walk into her house, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. And you're gonna be like, Dana, the range was 200 to 220, but let me tell you, you're exceeding the range. So I want to make sure that when we are ready to list here in a month or so, that I run these numbers again and give you a real precise calculation. But I'm surely not going to want to go in there with recommended price 210 when she was thinking 230, because that's going to turn them off and they're going to go with somebody else who says, well, I'll sell your house for 230. Next step. This gives you a way of emailing or printing like all this stuff. I'm just going to view. I'm not going to print it. I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to show you guys what the report looks like. It looks very professional. You're going to look great. You're going to look like a pro when you walk in there with this either document or you've emailed it to them or whatever. It starts with the picture. It's got a map view. And all you're going to do is highlight a couple of these pages as you're walking through this information with them. You're going to say, Dana, there's been 4 homes that have sold here in the last year that I feel are really direct comps for you. They're all within 0.23 miles. Here's your home specifics. Here's the comps. Please note, Dana, that I think we can expect to get over asking price if we price this well. Because here's an example of one that sold for over asking. Here's another one. Please take a look at this. This one sold for almost 20K over asking price. If that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. All these homes were built in generally the same time frame. They're all about the same size. 2-story homes, in my opinion, right now, from what I've seen, are worth a little bit more highly desirable than buy levels or splits. So you get through all the comps. You can take some of this stuff out. I just recommend playing with it. some of these bar graphs. So you got to know your clientele as well. Like if you know you're going to go present to a scientist or an engineer, they like numbers and they like charts and stuff. Versus if you're going to talk to an HR person, maybe they don't give a crap about the pie charts and stuff, and they just want to get straight to the bottom line. Know who you're going to go talk to. And then at the bottom here, it gives you actual like breakdowns, details of the actual listings. So if you walked into this meeting prepared with this information, able to speak to what other agents told you in the area, and also able to give a little guidance on price point, then you're gonna sound like you know what the heck you're talking about. And the odds are, when you pair this information with your personality and your relationship building skills, you're going to be unstoppable, and they're not even going to interview the next agent. Chelsea's asking if we want all this information going into our initial appointment. I would recommend it. Yes. It's showing that you're prepared and you are the local expert. And please note, I know nothing about Dana's area over there, honestly, but you can still look like you're the expert because you've got all these numbers. All people care about is, hey, what's my house going to sell for? What do you think? Well, you can go into this saying, well, average house sells 200 to 220 in here. My goal here is to walk through your house at this listing appointment and get a feel for what your finishes are versus some of these other homes, so that then I can return home and run some more information and give you an actual thorough and idea of what your home's going to sell for. Having been in Dana's home, I'd say I would start to look at some of those other comps that we crossed off the list, looking at some of those photos, Dana. And I would say your home is easily worth at least 230. Again, if you're not going to list for another couple weeks though, this could all change.
Our goal is Tuesday. We gotta just wrap it up this weekend, just clean and polish, and
Love it.
we're ready. So
Cool. I know we're over on our time, guys. But one thing I would say is strategy, listing strategy. This whole course is about listings. I like to list on Wednesdays and hold off showings until Fridays. Now, this is just in our current market. If things change, then my listing strategy is going to change. We have to change with what the market's giving us. I don't want to start showings right away because I don't want this going into contract on Wednesday. I want to build a bottleneck of activity so that showing after showing after showing goes in on Friday. We've created an anticipation, and it's also given me 2 full days to market this bad boy, get it out all over social media, talk to all the neighbors, invite everyone to an open house if we're going to do that, and hopefully drive 2 offers. All I need is 2. Why do I say 2? If I have 1 offer, who's that 1 offer competing against?
Nobody.
No one.
If I have 2 offers, who are they competing against?
Each other.
Boom. And so the price keeps going up and up and up. It's a bidding war. So that's my strategy. List on Wednesday, showing start Friday. If it's still on the market, or if my guys want to create a offer deadline, it's always Sunday at 5 o'clock or so. That gives me a chance to build my business by having an open house, maybe meet some prospective buyers, maybe even become a dual agent for this house. Ultimately, build more contacts and hopefully get a lot of offers. Because when you get 2 offers, it's great. When you get 3 offers, it's even better. 4 offers, awesome. Like, Dawn, how many do you have? You had 4?
We had 5.
Beautiful.
wow.
And you see the result. When you get more than 1 offer, they start waiving contingencies too, and the seller's life becomes that much easier. No remedy, money for appraisal. Heck, sometimes they'll even pay some of your closing costs. So We can dream, right?
Yeah.
You're selling at the perfect time, though.
Oh,
Well, I hope this was helpful, guys. And
Exciting.
I've got the recording. I'll try to get this uploaded for future reference on YouTube page. If you guys have any questions, as always, you've got my phone number. Reach out.
Josh, is your YouTube page just your name?
Great question. Shoot. I think I put my like real estate group name or whatever. I'll get it. I'll send it out.
is that group?
What's that?
What is the name of your group again?
Trailblazing Real Estate Group, because we're trailblazing a way for you, the buyer, the seller.
I love it.
For that company.
I need a better slogan, like we're dealing or something like that, you know? I guess I'm not Reichert. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Go get them this
Thank
week. Let's
you.
get some contacts. Get some contacts. Any
Thank you.
real estate conversation, get some contacts. Text, call, email, door knock. I don't care what you do. Talk about real estate. Go get some business. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.